Klitschko because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
It's frustrating as an Anthony Joshua fan that people will tell you that he doesn't want to fight Fury, Joyce, or Wilder. He's scared of the smoke. And then when he calls them out, they'll say, well, he's not ready to fight them. He should steer clear from all of them for health and safety reasons. That's frustrating. I don't know what to do with that. You know what it is? You want to, in one hand, tell him that, no, there's no way he should be fighting them guys. So then you can switch the argument to say he's ducking them. And then assert a narrative of his character, cowardice. AJ was nowhere near as bad as some people are saying. I give him props for trying new things, sacrificing home comforts. Big up Derek James. AJ is going to do a bit more spoiling than what we're used to. He's now maturing as a fighter, realizing that the boos and the criticisms don't matter. This is how I'm going to approach each fight, the way me and my coach see fit. And the fact that he's so determined to please Derek James is a good thing. You know, like, everybody knows if you've played sport at any level, you know when you're scared of your coach and you'll run through brick walls for him, that's when you get the best out of what you do. I'm not saying he's scared of his coach, but he has a certain respect where he doesn't want to let him down. And that's very good. And I'm going to assume Errol Spence and Jamal Charlo have the same thing. If he fights that kind of fight and improves on it against the top 5, then we're onto something. Yeah, there'll be critics, but yo, it's better that than you fall off and nobody's talking about you at all. The Vladimir Klitschko who reigned for 10 years was nowhere near as exciting as the gung-ho kid who ran out of steam against Ross Purity and Lamont Brewster. And it is what it is. He didn't want to get hit. And AJ don't want to get hit. He don't want to get hit. I've watched the fight a couple of times, and AJ didn't go for the finish because he was scared. I don't think he was scared. It was all calculated. It was a very calculated fight. Even from the bully boy tactics he was using. Jermaine said he lost concentration during the fight. I'm not sure if he was expecting to fight that AJ that turned up. You add that to the slick Midwestern boxing style of Jermaine, it became a bit of a stalemate. But AJ won the fight clear. Like Dillian said he beat Jermaine Franklin by 4. No, I think Dillian won, but he didn't win by 4. He may have pulled it out in the last round or the last 2. AJ's trying to set his punches up differently. He was trying to lock up Jermaine a lot more and then fire his shots off. And that's hard against someone like Jermaine, who's been used to smothering taller guys for most of his career and knows how to tuck that chin in very well and has got very quick hands. Very quick hands. Some of the quickest hands in the weight class. That's why Dillian couldn't dominate Jermaine in a similar manner that AJ did. AJ was able to take the sting off a lot of them punches and make a lot of them fall short. And Jermaine fell in a lot of times he tried to mount an attack. There was a lot more mauling from AJ in this fight, but it was deliberate. There's a lot of talk about who he's going to fight next. And I was battling with that today, and I don't care what nobody says. Jermaine Franklin's a lot better fighter than Trevor Bryan, who Daniel beat to get a world title shot. So I don't see AJ going any lower a level of opponent than Jermaine Franklin. And if he was to, like I was debating with Lennox, saying no, he needs to go in with Fury, Joyce and Wilder. But if he chooses another fight to work on stuff and learn shit, it's going to come down to a business decision. If DAZN are willing to bankroll AJ taking more learning fights, so to speak, it's an option. It's an option. My honest opinion is the fans ain't going to go for that. They're not going to sell out the O2 if the opponent level doesn't step up. So I don't see he has that option. That's my opinion. I know a few people think, oh, he should have more learning fights. Who's going to bankroll it? AJ's a franchise. He's not just a regular boxer. He'll have to cut ties with his deal with DAZN to do that. And just make his own independent card. Then he can do that. AJ needs to appreciate this period in his career. He's not constrained with the demands of mandatories. And as long as he keeps winning, all the other heavyweights and their promoters have to look towards AJ as a potential payday. They have no choice. And you know something? I'm listening to a lot of people breaking down this fight. And the Americans actually seem to appreciate AJ's boxing than a lot of the Brits. Because it is a more Americanized style. that rough and tumble, use every bit of your physical advantage, dominate the fight from the inside and out. And see, a lot of people like, oh, Floyd just ran. Floyd was a great inside fighter. Al Bernstein once said, Floyd is a better inside fighter than he is an outside boxer. That's what a lot of people don't know. And that's why, you know, beforehand I was like, boy, that Midwestern style of Jermaine Franklin, I had concerns about it. I did. You know, a lot of people talk boxing, but if you was to ask them what each punch is or what or where a lot of the traditional styles come from, what is the traditional English style? What's the traditional American style? What about Russia, Cuba? They wouldn't be able to tell you. They wouldn't know the sources. Like when Fury joined up with the Kronk, everybody was talking about Kronk style, Kronk style. I was the one who said, well, what is Kronk style? Everyone's saying it, but because they didn't used to say, oh, this is Kronk style in the 80s or 90s. They didn't used to say that. Because there's not one way the Kronk boxers fight. And Andy Lee came out and said, Kronk style, well, there is no Kronk style. Kronk style is setting up the knockout. So if you're going to say Kronk style, it's basically saying you've got to know how to set up the stoppage or the knockout. And obviously there can't be just one way to do that. Most people don't even remember Jimmy Paul, the IBF lightweight champion. He was a very hard puncher, Kronk fighter. He was a counter puncher, perhaps too patient at times. But he had great eyes and was very accurate. The Kronk gym liked knockouts, if possible. The Manny Stewart philosophy. That's why he used to get on Lennox and Vladimir. Goddamn, get him out of there, get him out of there. He wasn't talking about no particular style. Get them out. Use what we've trained for the last 9-10 weeks and get your man out of there. Like Tommy Hearns was a vicious body puncher. We saw it against James Schuler and Iran Barkley before Iran tagged him and caught him. Vladimir Klitschko never threw a body shot in his life. AJ, he didn't get the knockout. He didn't get the knockout. Hey, I predicted late stoppage or points. So the fact he didn't get it is like, I saw Jermaine Franklin fight Dylan. I said, oh, he's quite hard to nail. That's what I was thinking. He's quite hard to nail. If you're watching Jermaine Franklin and you're not seeing a guy that is hard to nail with clean shots, then I don't know what you're watching. I don't know what you're watching. A lot of people accuse me of being a Tyson Fury hater, but I saw the Otto Wallin fight and I didn't just, Tyson Fury's shit. No, I predicted him to beat Wilder off the back of that performance where he was nearly stopped on cuts. I predicted him to beat him. There was a few things in my head. I said, you know something, this was a good run out for Fury. It's actually a good workout. And he's up against someone trained by someone I used to watch in the 90s and was very talented in Joey Gamache. And even though no one knew about Otto Wallin, I didn't know nothing about Otto Wallin, I could clearly see that this is very much a stylistic thing. He's a southpaw. He understands spacing pretty well. And that's all it was. That's all it was. I still predicted Fury to beat Wilder in the second fight. Yeah, Wallin took him the distance. So what? Eddie Machin took Sonny Liston the distance. So what? I'm talking about prime Sonny. Murderer Sonny. Eddie took him the distance. AJ still has a very respectable knockout percentage, 22 in 25 wins. He's been the distance 5 times. He'll be disappointed because he sets the bar very high for himself. Now, I would have liked to have seen a knockdown or two. I would have done. But he would have had to push the gas a little more. And that's something they're going to have to look into. Is AJ beatable? Well, that's a stupid question. He's been beaten already. But I believe AJ can take some of the big scalps. I believe he can take some of them. And I'm not going to limit it to the lower end of the top 10. I'm talking about the top half and the champs, including Usyk. Yes, Usyk, I said it. He did a lot better in the rematch with Usyk. The third time around, yes, he could beat him. He could beat him. I'm not saying AJ just dominates the rest of the division, but he can take some of the scalps, and no one can convince me any different. They can't. You see, I see it a lot different to a lot of people in not just AJ. I think a lot of the assessments on the boxing rankings, and let's stick with the heavyweight division, it's just a lot of verbal masturbation, people trying to sound clever for the most part. But it really doesn't need a lot of explaining who's the best. A lot of people do not have no methodology or receipts. It's just a lot of blab, 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 blab in their mouth. You see, this list here, which I'm guessing is from 1973, Muhammad Ali has beaten everybody on the list. From George Foreman, the champion, Joe Frazier, he beat him twice. He beat Norton 2 out of 3. Frazier 2 out of 3. Jerry Quarry, he beat him twice. Ron Lyle, he beat him. Ernie Shavers, he beat him. Oscar Bonavina, he beat him. Joe Bugner, he beat him twice. Jimmy Ellis, he beat him. Chuck Wepner, he beat him. That's the Ring Magazine ratings for 1973. So you tell me who's the best heavyweight in the 70s. Now, I don't have to talk about no lineal claim. I don't have to go back and forth with some moron screaming Gypsy King every second. We know who's the best. It's Muhammad Ali. It shows you right there. What? You don't have to come in with the blah, 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 red, blah, blah, revisionist history, blah, blah, lineal. No need for that. The undisputed lineal champion, Muhammad Ali. Here's another one. And once again, I hear people talking about Mike Tyson. He never fought nobody. Every time he came under a real test, he buckled. Really? Are we talking about the lineal, undisputed heavyweight champion who turned pro in 1985 and became undisputed champion by 1987? Is that what you're talking about? 1988 or 1987. Mike Tyson knocked out the lineal Ring Magazine champion Michael Spinks, outpointed James Bone Crusher Smith, beat Pinkland Thomas in a title defense. He didn't fight Tim Witherspoon, knocked out Tony Tubbs in 2, knocked out Trevor Berbick in 2, lost to James Buster Douglas, beat Tony Tucker to become undisputed champion, beat Frank Bruno twice, one in a title defense, another one when he came out of jail and took Frank Bruno's belt, and knocked off Tyrell Biggs, the Olympic champion. You tell me who the best heavyweight was from the mid-80s till 1990. You tell me who's the best. It tells you right there. There it is. If I hear you saying, this top contender is shit and that one is great and blah, blah, running your mouth like you, for the most part, it's going to be verbal masturbation. And here's why. Here's why. Until you get a substantial sample size of the top 10 fighters and the belt holders fighting each other in a sensible time frame where they're sorting out the hierarchy of their era, not waiting until the fucking newcomers come up and they still haven't fought each other like Crawford and Spence. Everything you're saying is all bullshit. Muhammad Ali's record reads out like a league table. No stone unturned. It's almost like he's playing Premiership football. He played all the other 37 teams. He didn't play 30 of them and said, I won the league. Nah, he wiped out everybody. Cleaned up everybody. And he lost a couple, but the ones he lost in his prime, he avenged. Just like Lennox Lewis. Another lineal heavyweight champion. Let's take a look at Lennox's rap sheet from the 1999 Ring Magazine rankings. Holyfield drew once, beaten once. Michael Grant, unbeaten, knocked him out. Didn't fight Ibeabushi, outpointed Tua, knocked out Mike Tyson, beat Vitaly Klitschko, beat Andrew Golota, didn't fight Derek Jefferson and Oleg Maskayev. Do you still want to debate who was the best heavyweight from, let's say, 1995 till 2003 when he retired? Do you want to debate that? Or does it speak for itself? The 6 contenders he faced out of 9, he beat. This list is from 2022. Tyson Fury beat Wilder twice, hasn't fought Usyk, who is still the Ring Magazine champion, hasn't fought Anthony Joshua, no Joe Joyce, no Andy Ruiz. He's beat Dillian White, no Luis Ortiz, no Joseph Parker, no Hrgovic, no Frank Sanchez. 2 out of the 10 rivals on the list. 2 out of the 10. Okay, you could say he beat Wilder twice, but how much people did Ali beat twice on the list where he beat everybody? You know, Lennox Lewis beat Holyfield twice. He got robbed in the first one. So you could argue that Fury beat Wilder 3 times, I guess. Said he was lineal champion, which he wasn't. Where's Usyk? Where's AJ? Where's Joyce? Where's Ruiz? You can't base it on opinions of what you think of AJ. He can't take a punch. He's a bodybuilder. He lost 3 times. You can't base it on these things here alone. Eye test, yeah, that counts. All that counts. But you got to look at the statistical data as well. And you can do that with Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes. All the greats, you can do that. You can't do that with Tyson Fury, though. So a lot of his greatness is just down to narratives. You know, You go back to the old school, people compare Rocky Marciano and Joe Louis. Some will say Marciano's better. And people will say, well, Marciano knocked him out. Some will say Joe was past his prime. But even if Marciano knocked out a prime Joe Louis, what are the stats? Joe held the belt for 11 years, 25 defenses. Marciano, he didn't even hold the belt for half that time. I made about 5 defenses. Let's look at Anthony Joshua 2018. Okay, no Tyson, no Wilder. He's got Dillian, he's got Povetkin, Joseph Parker, and Kubrat Pulev. 4 out of his 9 rivals. 2017, he's got even a better record when I think about it. Like, Tyson was still Ring Magazine champion. I don't know what they were thinking about. He's got Parker, Povetkin, Pulev, won and lost against Ruiz. There's Dillian and Dominic Brazil. So he fought 6 of his 10 rivals. Won 5, lost 1. I haven't just conveniently selected the list to make these fighters look good. They're on the list, like 2016, same thing. Wilder was champion, but the only names on there is Luis Ortiz and Berman Stavern. There's not much there. Whether you go 2016, 17 or 18, go check it for yourself. 2016, Tyson Fury, who's he got? He's got Vlad, Wilder, and Dillian. Even on this list, AJ comes up better. He's got Vlad, Pulev, ranked number 3, Joseph Parker, Andy Ruiz, won and lost, and Dillian. It is what it is. I'm not saying AJ's the best. I'm still not saying AJ's the best. But his record speaks for itself. He was willing to fight all comers. Willingness to make fights. Fury comes up short. Actual live bodies, top 10 ranked bodies. He comes up short. He's not the lineal champion. False narrative. Longevity. There's people saying, he's the second longest reigning lineal champion. Well, for one, he's not the lineal champion. And you can't be saying he's the second longest reigning champion when he's had 2-3 years out. Come on, what is this? You got to try and clear out your division and try and be undisputed. Or how can you be great? Or even the best of your era? Second longest reigning lineal champion, my ass. Larry Holmes held the belt for 7 years. If Fury held it for 8 and he's the second, Larry Holmes held it for 7, a year less, and made 20 defenses. How much has Fury made? All of your claims that would make Fury great are all tenuous and have big gaping holes in them and get debunked all the time. And if you have a better methodology, show me it. AJ will need an improved performance on what we saw against Jermaine Franklin to beat Tyson Fury. I believe that. But as an AJ fan, I'm still enthusiastic. Because that's the whole point of sport. AJ is a highly ranked contender. Fury is a champion. And until they fight, you can never say never. It's simple as that. You can't become a great fighter on default. Oh, well, he would have beat him anyway, or he would have beat him anyway. It doesn't work like that. You've got to build up the statistics. Or it's just up to a bunch of blabbermouth Fury boys to say he's the best. And, listen, if they fight and Fury wipes the floor with him, call me deluded. But I don't agree with Ade. I respect Ade a whole lot. But as for Fury being levels above AJ, no, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Let's see the fight.